Detroit was once the manufacturing hub of America. They made our cars, steel, and for a time it was the 5th largest city in the US. But since 1950, its population has fallen from 1.8 million to 600,000, and the city has become one of the most abandoned in America. Today, we're on a mission to understand the city better and see if we can find anything good about Detroit in 2024.
We have one day here in Detroit, and here's what we gotta do.
Explore the city, listen to people's stories, and create one awesome hype video about why Detroit is a great place to live.
Okay, so we just tried to interview a guy who was like, you gotta play the game, you gotta pay money for an interview. So this might be a little bit harder to get people who are just ready to share. I don't know, this hype video right now is not looking too hype.
We just talked to some Jehovah's Witnesses,
Yep.
and they told us to go on the People Mover,
That thing.
which is that thing. It'll move us around as people to some cool spots around the city.
It kind of feels like there's not that many people here. We've gotten so desperate trying to find people in Detroit to make our hype video that Zeke thought that this was a real person. That's pretty tough, man.
Hello, sir. How long have you been in Detroit so far?
We've been in here for 2 weeks and we've absolutely loved it. The people here are so much more welcoming than we were expected. Very friendly, very hospitable, beautiful history, very rich, beautiful churches, and yeah, we've just been so blessed.
People say hello before you even have a chance to open your mouth. It's overwhelming.
So you've been here 2 weeks, and you're like, yeah, I want to live here.
If I had the opportunity and it was right in front of me, I wouldn't have a problem taking that, for sure.
Why, you're welcome. Have you lived in Detroit your entire life?
Been living my whole entire life here in Detroit.
What's your favorite thing about living here?
Detroit. Detroit itself. We just had the Grand Prix. A week before that, we had the draft down here. Now we got the Jazz Fest coming. Detroit is a good place to stay. Good place to come get a good job.
What's your least favorite thing about Detroit?
I have no least favorite thing because I love Detroit.
I'm gonna hit it big. I got my eyes on the prize. Oh my, gonna spin the
We're here at the Riverwalk.
Just gonna find some people and see what we can learn about the city.
A big part of this project is trying to understand other perspectives better, because we make so many assumptions about other people, other cities, other places. What are some things you've appreciated about this city, but also maybe some of the struggles that you've had?
I can tell you, man, just starting off when I first, just growing up as a kid, I can remember everything was totally different, you know. The crime rate was a whole lot higher, but I seen the changes that, like Dan Gilbert and Illich and all them has came down here and playing Monopoly, buying all these buildings up, and you see the difference with the culture of people is more diverse, like a melting pot down here. So now you have people from everywhere that come down here, and they building it up, and the crime rate's going down. So that's one thing I'm happy about that was from then and now is the crime rate, man.
Feel more comfortable down here.
More safer environment, and how clean the streets is, because before it was never this clean.
I love my city. I always say that I bleed Detroit, and I love being here. I think that we have an incredible art scene. We have a really rich history, like you said. We have rich culture. People hustle here. It's love in this city everywhere you go. Some of our elected officials don't really appreciate us the way that they should. They don't take the time to really lift up the individuals and the voices in this city. There are people in this city that are doing so much for the youth in the community, from the different art companies to the youth companies, to the different educational programs, to the trade companies. All of these people from Detroit, they leave and they become rich, but they don't always share where they came from in their background.
There's a bunch of gentrification going on, and it kind of just makes me super sad about it, because the way that this city was made off of Black people and people of color. My grandma on my mom's side, she lived in Melvindale for a very long time, and she had to get moved out because they decided to build an apartment complex where her house was.
Yeah.
And it was just am I allowed to cuss? Because it was just so shitty. We had to find a whole home for her and everything. So, yeah, the way that gentrification, it can be it looks beautiful on the outside, but that's the point. It's a horrible system. And I think our government needs to recognize it and change it.
When people say, oh, it's the worst city to live in, it was often because there was such a conflict between our leadership and our police department, which was often middle-aged white individuals that lived in the suburbs, trying to understand the culture and the difficulties of the African Americans or minority individuals that lived within the city. They didn't understand each other, and that often caused a lot of conflicts, which led to the riots. The community started to push back and say, we can't be treated like animals or less than human, and it caused riots. If you lived south of 8 Mile, you were supposed to stay south of 8 Mile. There was this invisible division line between cultures.
The stuff that we do, the way we walk, talk, dress and all that, they always try to steal it, and they always try to incorporate it with other cultures or other states.
They do that, but then still consider Detroit the worst city in the country.
That's what I meant.
Which is the problem there. I like that it's not as big. I like that it's not as congested as New York is. Detroit has for years been the blackest city in America with an 80+% African American. You don't see that high of a concentration anywhere else.
How's growing up in Detroit?
Oh, shoot, as a kid, it was everything, I guess, just like any other kid. You have no worries, no fears, so you just enjoy yourself. We had over 1 million people in Detroit back then. Yeah, it was over 1 million. But right now, like I said, it went decline because really the city didn't put what they needed to into the city to keep it going. People are beginning to move back in Detroit. Population is going up, back up. They start doing things, the Riverwalk, putting programs back into the city, where the city can, kind of take care of itself.
If you can survive here, you can survive anywhere.
Anywhere in the United States.
No. If you can survive in my hometown in here,
Chicago,
which is Chicago and Detroit, you can survive anywhere in the world. Y'all from Chicago? I'm from the 108th Morgan. I'm from the east side of Detroit.
Do you think you kind of had to mature up a little earlier?
I definitely matured. Listen, my mama was a madam, my daddy was a pimp. I was turned out on these streets at a very young age. I was grown women at a young age. I done did a lot of shit that people wish that they could do. But when you get grown, bro, you start looking like, yeah, I praised that at one point, but it's like, damn, you molested me, bitch. The people who want to kill everybody is people who ain't never did that already. And you listen to rap music and you want to do that. When you was out there for real and you did that, you got some type of glory or whatever. But then when you become a grown man and you got children and you realize you took somebody else's child away from them or something like that, bro, that shit different. How you live with yourself. You go change, you go speak to other people, make them change their ways, or you go create more destruction, tell them that that's what it is to do. Go kill your own kind. Not even your own kind. Just go kill a human, man. That make you feel good, man? Nah, it don't. Help the next man. That'll make you feel greater, and you'll get a blessing behind it.
End of the day, we're here at Belle Isle.
This place is beautiful. So we're filming a documentary video about Detroit. It's a beautiful night out here. We saw y'all had a fire. We're just gonna offer to roast some marshmallows. If y'all will be down for that, we can film it, make it look super dope.
And we want to make
do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
It's mission find a stick to roast these marshmallows. You ready for this?
Yes.
Oh, mission accomplished.
We got
Let's
mission
go.
accomplished.
¿Qué piensas? Es delicioso. Mucho sabor, sí. Perfecto.
All we is a bunch of getting money that been from the struggle. It's hard here. If we can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah.
So.
You feel like that brings people together?
It don't matter where we at. You can always come out on top. Simple as that.
Yeah.
If you from the D, you from the D.
Does that apply to your NBA team?
NBA team? The NBA team. Now you want to go into sports.
And so, with the day ending, we felt we had uncovered the truth about Detroit. We were ready to make our hype video.
Good morning from Detroit.
You may have heard some things about this city, but let me let you in on a secret. Detroit is not what you think it is.
It's not just the forgotten streets you've heard about from people who haven't even stepped foot in the city.
It's the epicenter of action and adventure.
We just had the Grand Prix. A week before that, we had the draft down here.
It's full of artistic talent and a rich history.
A place where people aren't scared of a challenge.
Resilience runs through this river.
If we can make it here, you can make it anywhere. You can always come out on top.
In Detroit, the hustle binds generations of dreamers together.
And people can do anything.
This place isn't what you read in the news.
It's the real Detroit,
where the future is bright on the horizon.
Come try Detroit out. Best place to be.
So good morning, world.
Because Detroit is here, and it's stronger than ever.